Sabah everybody and welcome back to the channel. And today OnePlus officially confirmed that they're releasing a series line of devices around the OnePlus 7 on the 14th in May in 4 different locations. We have London, New York, Bangalore, and Beijing. And all of these locations will have hopefully a simulcast of the actual launch event. And the really exciting part about this is that there's a potentially third option. So there's going to be a standard, Pro, and a Pro 5G. This is TK. Let's go ahead and talk about all the leaks that we know so far. Like and subscribe and hit that bell icon to get notified whenever we push out new videos, and check out that coupon to save $20 on your next order from OnePlus. So one of the main things that we had in 2018 obviously was the Snapdragon 845, the 6.41-inch display AMOLED 1080p panel, and of course we had a 3700 mAh battery that's powering this entire thing. We had different variants, but the two that played the biggest part in what I believe the OnePlus 7 will learn from is the OnePlus 6T Thunder Purple and the OnePlus 6T in McLaren edition. The Thunder Purple for the gradient color and the customization options that we got here, which is definitely very beautiful. And of course, the McLaren edition with the introduction of the 30-watt charger. But not only that, we also had 10 gigs of RAM with 256 gigs of internal storage. And we also eradicated the 64 gig model of the OnePlus devices directly from them. So the base model started with 128 gigs of internal storage. And that brings us over again to the base level of upgrade that we see with 2019. At the base model, we will definitely see the Snapdragon 855. We will see more than likely an 8 gig variant all the way up to 10 gig variant, 128 gigs of internal storage at the base model going all the way up to 256, and even a potential 512 gigabyte model. The display on the OnePlus 7 will definitely be more reminiscent or looking like the OnePlus 6T, and that's because the OnePlus 7 is supposed to be that gradual upgrade from the 6T that we had from last year. Now we'll more than likely see a teardrop camera here, a fingerprint sensor that's in the display, the power button, of course, the slider here to be able to customize that. And from the leak that we saw today, we definitely can confirm that this is still going to be there with the OnePlus 7. What we do have here obviously is the ability of supporting dual SIM, so more than likely all of these features will definitely be there. But where it will definitely differ, but what we saw essentially is a departure on the OnePlus 7 Pro from the standard flat display. So something similar to what we have here, a more symmetrical curved display on the front and on the back using glass. Now that's going to be very different obviously than what we see normally with the OnePlus 6T. So I think the 7 will more than likely continue with this design. So if you're looking for more of a flat display, obviously you're more comfortable with that, the OnePlus 7 will definitely fit the bill. But the 7 Pro and the 7 Pro 5G potentially will more than likely have that curved display. The May 14 date is definitely going to be held in multiple locations. And the way we had it last year with the 6T is that they were selling tickets to the actual event. So don't be surprised if you see OnePlus releasing some information regarding people being able to buy tickets to attend the actual launch event, either being in London, in New York, or even Bangalore or Beijing. 7 Pro is more than likely going to have that curved display, but one of the other comments that we saw from Piet Lau is that they've spent 3 times as much as they've spent in the past on their displays, meaning there's a potential having a QHD Plus display running on the OnePlus 7, and that's going to give us the ability of having obviously a higher refresh rate with the AMOLED screen. So hopefully a 90 Hz refresh rate on a OLED panel that is at Quad HD Plus resolution. Finally, a flagship killer in the sense of what we expect from flagships, and that's the higher resolution displays. And I really hope that the leak talking about the stereo speakers is finally true. In the past, I've always done videos showing you guys how to use exposed and modules to be able to enable the earpiece at the top to give us somewhat of a simulated stereo speakers, but we've never had a built-in support, and that's one of my main hopes here with the OnePlus 7 Pro and the OnePlus 7. Stereo speakers built into the actual device with a brand new, obviously updated UI. As you can expect, Oxygen OS will definitely have a facelift with this new device. Now talking about the actual sensors and what we see here, historically OnePlus has not gone too far from the 2 sensors in the back. We've had 2 sensors for quite some time. And one of the leaks that we're seeing now is that the fact we're going to be seeing 3 different sensors. But not only that, the presence of the 48 megapixel sensor that we saw on the Honor View 20. And that's something that will definitely be very nice. So having 3 sensors in the back. So my hope essentially is that we will have a 48 megapixel standard focal length. We'll have an ultra wide as well as a telephoto lens to give us basically the best combination of triple cameras. But not only that, the 7 Pro is promising us to provide something that's a little bit different and more closer to what we saw with the Oppo F11 Pro. And that's the missing camera in here that works more of a pop-up option at the top. So essentially a more full display, small bezels, built-in fingerprint sensor, but also the ability of having a pop-up camera whenever needing it. Now, unfortunately, what that means is there is a very small chance that we're going to be losing any kind of IP rating. Now, OnePlus never really talks about IP rating, but we've seen a lot of people do testing with OnePlus devices surviving going into basically a quick splash in the water. And with the pop-up camera option, if that is true, that's going to be the end of that, as moving mechanical parts that go in and out will always basically compromise the integrity of any device, specifically when it comes to water resistance. So what we're talking about here essentially is literally almost 4 new cameras on the OnePlus 7 and the 7 Pro. One of the other upgrades we're also looking forward to is the upgraded version of the fingerprint sensor. Now, if you've used the fingerprint sensor on the OnePlus 6T, you know it actually does learn from you using it over time. So definitely unlocking becomes much faster as you use it. But definitely we want to see more of a 3D sensor, something closer to the S10 Plus, something that's a little bit more secure than just an optical sensor, as that's what we have here. This is an optical sensor. Definitely a Gen 2 version of this will definitely be really appreciated, but anything that's a little bit better, maybe more, again, 3D sensing, will definitely be much better on the OnePlus 7. So one of the things that we haven't seen for some time yet is the expansion of the battery. So what I feel like I think the OnePlus 7 will definitely benefit from is going into that 4,000 milliamp battery, as we've seen in some of the leaks. So hopefully that, supported with the 30-watt charger, is going to make this device definitely the one to beat as far as not only battery life, because we already had a massive battery life with the 3700 milliamp battery here, but of course with the optimizations that we see with Oxygen OS, especially with Android 9.0 Pie, that's definitely going to be really nice. And definitely expect Android Pie to go out of the box with this device. Android Q is still in very early betas and early releases, so the chances of that being released to OnePlus 7 is very, very rare. More than likely Android Pie, similar to the one we have on the OnePlus 6T, and definitely very fast, but a more updated version made specifically, of course, with the new line of devices. So the OnePlus 7 series of devices is going to be launched in a few weeks. I'm really excited about the fact that we have different versions to select from. I think the 7 is the standard evolution that we expect, the 855, 8 gigs of RAM, and 128 gigs of internal storage to start, and of course we'll have the different colors and the different finishes on the back. Unfortunately, I don't really see the 3.5mm headphone jack coming back, so I think OnePlus has pretty much departed from there. But what we learned from the 6T is the fact that we will more than likely see the faster charging, the potential bigger battery, as well as a slightly bigger display to accommodate the bigger battery that we have in there. So all of the things pointing to a lot of exciting things going with the 7. The 7 Pro with the curved display coming in with the symmetrical curve on both sides, it's definitely something that we're looking forward and we've been wanting from OnePlus for many years. A QHD Plus with 90 Hz, that's really nice. That's something that a lot of us, especially hardcore OnePlus fans, that have wanted from OnePlus to give us as an option. Those are always the leaks that we see about the OnePlus 6, the 6T. We always hear about these things, so they've been playing with them for some time. And the 7 Pro is definitely going to be that. I am so excited about this launch event. Please let me know in the comments below, what are your guys' thoughts on the OnePlus 7 series of devices? You have the 7, the 7 Pro, and then of course the potential 7 Pro 5G. And I feel like the 7 Pro is really going to be the sweet spot because I think the 5G is a little bit early. The implementation of that in the markets that we have right now is very limited. So depending on where you are, you're really not going to benefit from that. But the higher end specs as far as the display, the technology, and of course the pop-up camera in there and having that full display, no notch, and still getting stereo speakers, I really want that to be. I've wanted stereo speakers on a OnePlus device ever since the first OnePlus, and I've been modding all of my OnePlus devices to get stereo speakers just to be able to get that feature on my phone. Like and subscribe as usual. Thank you very much for the support, and hopefully you guys like this type of video. This really got me very pumped this morning when I saw the announcement of the May 14 launch event and the fact that it's going to be in New York. So hopefully they'll have sales tickets, and I'm going to try to see if I can get myself into one of the events. And of course, always follow me on here, Instagram, and on Twitter to make sure that you're always on top of all the things that I cover for you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video.